Hello and welcome to Western Herald Headlined, where we take the top stories from the Western Herald every week and bring them to you in a podcast format and talk about them a little bit more. I'm Cori Osterman, editor-in-chief of Western Herald, and today I have with me two podcast newbies and newer members of the Western Herald editorial board, our lead reporters. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
So I'm Reynolds, and I'm the lead arts and entertainment reporter.
And I'm Joey Hartzell. I am the lead sports reporter here at Western Herald.
So how the editorial board works is that there's lead reporters and assistants on one level, and then we have the editors of the sections, news, sports, arts, we have a managing editor, and then the editor-in-chief. So what do you guys kind of do at the Herald as lead reporters?
Well, I, as the lead arts and entertainment reporter, what I do is I mostly cover lots of events in the arts and entertainment threshold on campus. So theater, visual arts, fun activities hosted by RSOs, et cetera, and I just cover a lot of those, basically.
And as sports reporter, I typically cover a lot of games. Recently, I've been doing a couple feature stories with some interviews with administration and players, and then I also help Jack out where I can. Jack's our sports editor, and so I like to help him out whenever I can.
Yeah, so lead reporters are kind of like the lifeblood of Western Herald editorial board because they pick things up when nobody else can, and I don't know, you guys really have been stepping up this year, and I'm super appreciative to have you both on the team. Is there anything in particular that you've loved covering this year?
I mean, I have had a lot of fun with all my stories so far. I liked doing the POTUS preview. I enjoyed the I just have a lot of fun with all my pitches because I'm really passionate about arts and entertainment on campus, so everything I get to pick up for that is I have a lot of fun with it.
That's awesome.
My favorite story definitely has probably been the NIL story I recently did. I interviewed our athletic director, Dan Bartholomew, got to talk about our NIL situation and our strategies moving forward as a mid-major school.
Yeah, that was a big one for you too, as a first news-esque story, coming out of sports a little bit and writing a little more newsy was.
Yeah, I was excited. It was a good chance, to get real news content on the sports page more than just a recap. And
I really liked editing it. I think we need more of that stuff coming out of the sports section. So, if you'll notice, I kind of said a new name when we started the podcast. You guys have never been on the former Western News Review, but we are Western Herald Headlined now because we wanted to rebrand a little bit and make sure it was known that this was Western Herald related. We went with headlined based on managing editor Kayla Lambert's argument that the word has a double meaning because we love words here. Headlined is a verb and it means to both provide with a headline and appear as a star performer. So that's us, Western Herald Headline. It is going to be pretty much exactly the same as Western News Review, but we thought we wanted to have a little bit more fun with it. Let's get into our stories for the week. The first Board of Trustees meeting was last week. By the way, these come out on Mondays, even though we're recording on a Friday. So we're saying last week, it was on Thursday. And the board faced a lot of public comments that took up a majority of the board's time. I think there were 15 people who attended the meeting to address the board to talk about both the wage negotiations between administration and faculty unions and WMU's stance on the Israel-Hamas war. What do you guys think about the...
I mean, personally, it's not super shocking. I mean, it's something that lots of faculty members and students have been talking about pretty much since the semester started. So, I mean, reading what happened.
Right, it's only natural that they all came to the board meeting and addressed them at the public comments.
Yeah, I think everyone had a feeling it was going to be an eventful meeting for sure.
Yeah, especially being the first one, you see all the posters all over campus, talking all about, it's got different statistics, all sorts of interesting information on there. It's not a surprise that their first meeting had a lot of commenters.
Yeah, so one of our first speakers at the public comments was Catherine Bailey, the president of the WMU American Association of University Professors, one of the groups that is vying for that wage increase. She said, a university is not primarily its buildings, but its people. It's foolish to invest in the former while alienating, disrespecting, and starving the latter. So there were a lot of powerful quotes that kind of came out of that meeting, and it was pretty interesting to watch live. I did get an email pretty recently, so bear with me, but it was from the university about administration side of things. The board didn't really comment on all of the public comments at the meeting. They just thanked people for coming, and they adjourned the meeting pretty fast. But this email states that after the meeting, administration was talking about negotiations entering mediation, and thus far all of those negotiations have gone through mediation, but the AAUP indicated that they will not have these mediated sessions anymore, and that they're taking a step back from that. The university's response at the end of this email is the university remains committed to continuing to negotiate in good faith and reaching an accord effectively and efficiently as possible. We believe such good faith includes decisions with rational basis, informed by market data that considers our current and prospective enrollment as well as the needs of our students and their families. So
yeah, and at the Board of Trustees meeting, Anna Popkova, Associate Professor of Communication, said, I want to feel respected, I want to feel listened to with care and empathy. I want to be able to give feedback to my leadership without worrying about my promotion and tenure and professional development, and I want to be rewarded and valued in ways that are meaningful to me. And based on that email and them pulling out of mediated meetings about wage stuff, like, it doesn't seem like they feel like that is being met.
That's a good point. It seems like there's a lot of tension from both sides there. And if you want to read more about those quotes, other people that spoke at the meetings, some students came out and spoke about the Israel-Hamas conflict. You can find that all on westernherald.com. That Board of Trustees meeting was covered by our news editor, Grace Teachout. So why don't we get into some of our other headlines? I know Joey's here, which is like a great opportunity for us to talk about some sports, because not a lot of our news people are well versed in the sports world, so it's nice to have you in the room.
Yeah, so our football team, Western Michigan Broncos, are going to Huntington, West Virginia tomorrow, or this weekend on Saturday, to take on the Marshall Thundering Herd. Marshall's 1-2 this year, coming off of 2 tough losses at Virginia Tech and at Ohio State. And Western Michigan comes off of their first win of the year, a home game against Bethune-Cookman. Both teams are closing out their non-conference play, and Western Michigan's case will be moving into MAC play soon. Moving on to men's soccer, the number 11 ranked Western Michigan soccer team tied with Dayton last week and was taking on the Missouri State.
Happens.
Number 11 men's soccer team is taking on Missouri Valley Conference rival Missouri State this weekend. Women's soccer is also 5-1-4, and they are coming to take on Central Michigan and Mount Pleasant, Michigan. I am struggling.
You're fine. It's first time in the podcast studio. It's a lot. It's a little more relaxed than four-core sports. I know you guys have to remember exactly what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about four-core sports a little bit and tell people what that's about?
Yeah. So four-core sports comes out every Sunday. Wait, does it come out Sunday?
It depends on when Aidan Ralko gets us ready. He just said Tuesday and Thursday, but
I'll just say middle of the week.
Okay.
If you want to hear more about our sports, what all's going on with Western Michigan sports, tune into Four Core Sports. It comes out every week in the middle of the week, where me and Jack Meneke, our sports editor, will be talking about Western Michigan sports and what happened in the last week.
Yeah, so that's a great show. It's nice to have a sports-centric video something come out every week. We do a lot of video stuff recently, but it's cool to see you guys continuing that from last year when Jack and Eddie used to do it together.
Yeah, and with Western Michigan soccer being where they're at as a program right now, ranked 11th in the country, we do have some nationally relevant teams here at Western Michigan, and so it's good to get some information about those teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Ella, you have a reoccurring feature that we've been doing that's new this year. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I have been doing the column This Week in Western Herald History since we started it over the summer. And basically it comes out with every print edition. And what I do is I just go back in Western Herald archives, going back to, I think, 1916, and I look at articles published within the week of when we're publishing now, and I just comb through those editions and articles looking for notable articles, notable happenings on campus in previous years, and these can range from establishing departments, new buildings at the time, just all of that stuff. And I think it's been a great time because, I mean, you see so much stuff happening at earlier dates. You see people talking about things in like the 70s that they're still talking about now. It's been a really fascinating column to write.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about like the process of finding those old issues.
Yeah, so I look up Western Herald archives, go in there. I usually start at around 90 something, or I start at the 1910s, and I basically just go through all of them until I find stuff that I think I can turn into an article, usually 2 or 3 articles from those past editions. Sometimes I can find things sooner than other times, but I always end up finding something that I think is really fascinating and that I can really put into an article and also connect to present day happenings on campus.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of great feedback about the column.
That's nice.
People are really enjoying This Week in Western Herald History. So you can check out This Week in Western Herald History on our website and in each of our print editions. For the month of October, prints come out on October 7th, October 14th, and October 28th. Those are all Mondays. We're trying to ramp up and do more editions as election season starts. So Ella will have a This Week in Western Herald History feature in each of those prints and on westernherald.com if you'd like to check them out. Let's see, what else do we have on the website as of late? I am like so proud of this team and the content that just like keeps getting published. It's an insane amount of content right now.
Everyone's been writing a lot.
They really have.
E-board and staff writers.
Yes, we're so excited to see new staff writers, and a lot of people had like first bylines come out this week.
Yes, it's been amazing to see.
It has.
Like, because you remember that for sure, I think.
Oh yeah, I remember my first headline. It was I think it was like therapy dogs come to campus during mental health week or something, all the way back in 2020. So like yeah, I'm old. But do you guys remember your first headlines?
My first headline for the Western Herald or just in general?
Oh, you are published other places. I don't know, give us both.
Yeah, so my first headline for in general was for a Wisconsin website called Badger Notes, and I wrote a story on Andrew Van Ginkel signed a 4-year, $80 million contract with the Minnesota Vikings, and he is a Wisconsin football alum, and so I wrote a quick story detailing that contract and, you know, kind of his short NFL career so far. And then my first for the Western Herald, I believe was a basketball game recap.
Nice. Did you go to the game with a seasoned reporter, or did they just send you out?
So actually, Eddie and Jack last year just sent me out. I got the press pass. They're like, all right, you have you got the pass figured out, and so I just went, got the pass, and it went surprisingly smoothly. But they did just kind of throw me to the fire.
That happens around here. You kind of learn journalism by doing. It's hard to learn in a classroom, which a lot of us do, but being actually in the field is the best way to learn how to do this. So, it worked out, and you both are here now and hopefully fine. But we have content being published pretty much every day, and I'm sure by the time this comes out on Monday, our website will look a little different. But if you missed this week's headlines or last week's headlines, we have the WMU College Democrats share takeaways from the 2024 presidential debate. That is one of our staff reporters' first bylines, Marco Hutter. The annual sustainability celebration held September 27th. That is a preview written by Ella. Grace Teachout wrote a bot meeting preview about his Board of Trustees. The Kalamazoo community gathered for their annual suicide prevention walk. That was written by Elliot Verlee, our A&E editor. To go along with that, Mental Health Week is this week. WSA, in collaboration with a couple of the other staff agencies, put on Mental Health Week events all week long. So that's kind of a cool thing that they do every semester, and we try to cover as many of those events as possible. Have you guys ever been to any of the Mental Health Week events that we have at Western?
I think last year between classes throughout the week, I was always busy, so I never planned to go to any, but they would just sort of be everywhere, and so you could kind of stumble upon them.
That's so true.
Take a few minutes and just chill out and then go on with your day, and that's one of my favorite parts of the events we have here, is that they're very accessible. You can just stumble into them and enjoy it for a while, and then just go when you're ready.
Yeah. What about you, Joey?
I unfortunately have not. I'm not as active in events on campus as a lot of you all. I am so into sports to the point where, that's a lot of what I do. And so usually I'm at some sporting event or watching a sporting event or covering a sporting event. So
that's fair.
That usually leads to me not being as active as I may want to be in some of the on-campus.
That's you being active in the sports world on campus, which not a lot of the rest of us do. That's one of the cool things about covering news and arts is you just get to go to events that you wouldn't normally be at. I've covered the therapy dogs before. I think we just covered campus activities board bingo, where they gave out Squishmallows as prizes. I heard the staff writers really liked going to that. We had a writer and a photographer go, and they both said it was a lot of fun. I've been to karaoke where there was free pizza, which is we love free stuff.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of my favorite parts of writing for the Herald, is that you just get to experience so many things. You get to go to events that you may or may not have even planned on going to if you hadn't been covering it. And I always end up having a lot of fun. I end up talking to a lot of people, getting to hear their opinions on the event, their feelings, and it's my favorite part of writing for the paper.
I totally agree. I like the multicultural events that we have. All the different affinity groups on campus usually have one or two things a year, and those are really cool to just get to go and immerse yourself into. And then that's not something I would probably normally do just by myself, but it's really cool to get to go. And then when you do play previews and reviews, you get to go see the Western plays, and they give you a little press pass. And
yeah, and I love the theater, so those are probably my favorite articles that I write.
And Joey gets press passes to most of the games that he goes to, right?
Yeah, for pretty much any sport, we get sideline access, we get behind the scenes access, we can go in the press conferences. It's great experience, I think. I'm not sure how many universities you get that opportunity, just because a lot of the bigger universities have a lot more interest from local media, and so it's a lot harder to get a press pass there. And so being able to, the accessibility of the coaches is another thing. I've gotten to talk to several different coaches. I personally talked to the athletic director multiple times. That kind of access is just, it's really cool to get that access here.
Yeah, and most of the departments on campus are pretty accommodating for student reporters. They want to see us do well so that we can showcase what they're doing, and it's really cool to see how the connections that we have throughout campus.
Oh yeah, and through writing you definitely develop more of those connections, especially the longer you're writing, because I have so many connections now with the theater department. I know who to reach for interviews, I know how to reach actors, and so I'm very thankful that I've been able to build those connections through writing for the paper.
How many plays have you been to?
I covered most of last year's plays.
Did you have a favorite?
Ooh, I really liked the SpongeBob musical.
Oh my god, me too.
It was one of the last ones, and it was just so much fun. It was fun to write about, it was fun to see and talk to the actors, but every single play or musical I go to here is just I love it, and I love writing the articles. It's definitely like one of my favorite things to do.
They're like shockingly good.
They are super good.
Not that like it's a surprise that we have like really talented actors and
It's
artists here, but like
still, you know, if you're going to like SpongeBob musical, you're
right?
like, okay, and then you get there and it's like, oh my gosh, like, this is really good.
Like I did not anticipate SpongeBob the musical being this amazing, but like it really was.
I didn't anticipate crying during the SpongeBob musical, but I did. So
that's so real. Let's see, what do we have going on in the arts and entertainment section? Arts and entertainment multimedia crossover. We have a Students Make Blankets for Bronson Children's Hospital video for the Blankets for Bronson Club on campus. And then we also, that was directed by Jacob Marr, edited and camera work done by Jacob Marr. And then Annabella Tetner wrote like the print version of the article, so that's cool to see like our little, we call it double dipping when we do a media story and a print story for like the same subject, so you can see it in multiple formats. The Suicide Prevention Walk was also a video story, and the Western Roots Market has been going on every Wednesday outside of Sangren. I keep seeing people milling about out there, so that looks really cool. And then in opinion/multimedia, our series Meet the Herald is back this year, and our first video is on Libby Stefanich, our photo editor, so if you'd like to get to know her a little bit more, her video is really cool. Videos on these two coming soon. Hopefully they are somewhere in the roster. Mine was like last year, so no need to go back and find that, but it exists if you really want to. I think I'm almost good to wrap up here. I have no idea how long we've been going, but I don't know what that means, Aidan.
I'd say about 20 minutes.
Is that what that means, 20 minutes? Okay, that's pretty good. I wanted to keep them under 30 this year. I feel like that's where our audience retention lies. But to just give a brief, we probably have a newsletter that came out on Friday. What are our obsessions this week? We have Vampire Diaries coming at you from sports editor Jack Meneke. He insisted that we put Vampire Diaries on the Western Herald's obsession. I've never seen it. Have you guys?
I have not.
I've seen like the first 3 episodes and then I stopped.
I was scared. I was scared to admit it in the editorial board meeting that I have not seen an episode. In fact, I can't even really exactly picture what the Vampire Diaries is, and I was really concerned I was the only one.
I have not seen it either, but this is not the first time I've heard Jack talk about this show.
I heard from Kayla that he's hardcore fan.
Yes, and Kayla likes it as well, and
yes.
I believe Grace does too, so it's like
it works.
We try to, more than one of our editorial board members usually agrees on an obsession for the week.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Autumn Colors, which I believe was pitched by Aidan Ralko, multimedia editor, but we all wholeheartedly agree that fall colors are amazing, and we love that the leaves have started changing, and campus just looks really good around this time, and I'm sure all the photographers are gonna like be running around taking photos.
It's gonna be really gorgeous for the next few weeks.
Yes, it is. And then our third obsession is Hey Dudes, which was also an Aidan pitch, but I know Joey has some thoughts as well.
I'm a big fan of Hey Dudes. I have 3 pairs.
3 pairs? Yeah. Why do you need 3 pairs of the same brand of shoes?
Well, I wear them different places. They come in all sorts of different patterns. They have specialty fabrics occasionally, and so I like to mix and match.
Okay, what is the style? Are they like just super comfortable, or
super comfortable? I think they're pretty durable.
Not to make this an Hey Dudes ad, I just like want to know.
They're somewhat like weatherproof, like slightly, like not like fully, but like a little bit.
Sure.
And they're kind of like sandals too. I like the ability to just slip them on and off.
Gotcha.
I had never seen Hey Dudes before. We talked about it in the e-board meeting. So after I went home, I looked up a picture and I was like, all right. I will say that my standards for shoes aren't comfortable and durable. So
fair.
Not the target audience, but I see a lot of people wearing them.
Ella is always very high fashion in the office, and we love to see it, but maybe not Maybe not for comfort, more of a for style kind of person.
My feet hurt all the time.
That's so funny. Beauty is pain, right?
It is.
And then our achiever extraordinaire of the week is Emily Delano, our new sports reporter. Joey, do you want to talk to that?
Emily has been awesome. She has covered a lot of soccer and basically made it so that Jack and I don't really have to worry about soccer, which is
awesome.
I love covering soccer. I love our soccer teams, but seeing her just kind of take off with soccer and just she writes all the recaps. She does a great job covering it. And I think her and Jack are going to get to go to a game together this week to get her a chance to get behind the scenes and get some player quotes. And I think that'll be a great opportunity for her. And I'm excited to have her around the sports board. It's always nice to have staff writers on the sports board.
Yes, it is rare that we have like a very dedicated sports staffer.
We're growing.
I was gonna say,
growing.
I've been writing since about like this time last year, and I've never seen as many sports staff writers as we have right now.
Yeah, I've been here for 4 years and I've never seen as many staffers as we have now. Our team is quite big right now. We have a lot of people in news and A&E as well. You have another new sports writer as well, don't you?
Yes. Yes, we do. Haley.
Okay.
Haley's been good. She's been covering a lot of volleyball.
Okay, cool.
And that's also been going pretty well. Only having women's volleyball as compared to the men's and women's soccer, she hasn't had quite as many events to go to, just off the nature of only having one team to cover. But I think she's also been doing a very good job as well.
Awesome. It's so great to hear that you guys are like having good times in your like individual sections.
Yeah, it's awesome too, because I feel like both of our new sports reporters have just like took it and ran. Like there's not really been any hiccups. They've just done a great job from the get-go. They've been professional and their writing's really good. That's
so good to hear. We will leave with our Western Herald tip of the week, which is to recycle. It's simple, but we care about the environment, and there's recycling bins all across campus. Maybe just put your trash in a recycling bin instead of the trash can. If it can be recycled, recycle it.
In Michigan, you can return your cans.
Absolutely. It's very important.
Sometimes 2 cents a can.
Ooh. So you can see our obsessions and our tip of the week and our achiever extraordinaire every week in our email newsletter, which you can sign up for on westernherald.com. You can see all of our other stories in news, sports, arts and entertainment, multimedia, and opinion also on westernherald.com. And those print editions come out every other Monday. Thank you guys for listening to Western Herald Headlined. Bye.